So let us discuss Samuel Richardson's masterpiece, Pamela, or The Virtue Rewarded. It's the story of a poor girl, 14-year-old girl, Pamela Andrews, who belongs to a family of very low social standing. They are so poor that her father can't afford to grow all his kids. So he asks Pamela to go and find a job. She works in a house, and she is the maid for an old lady, Lady B, who is a rich middle-class woman and lives together with Lady B's son, Mr. B. It's very important to know that we are not told the real surname of this middle-class family. We only know Pamela's surname, Andrews, but we are not given Mr. B's real surname. After the old lady dies, and she took care of Pamela, and she tried to teach her how to become a perfect middle-class lady, an elegant middle-class lady. The old lady dies, and Pamela and Mr. B live together. Mr. B is not a good man. He makes several attempts to seduce Pamela. He also uses violence. He kidnaps her and tries to rape her, but she resists his seduction. There's a priest, Mr. Williams, who offers Pamela his help while she's kidnapped, and he proposes to her. He offers his help but wants to marry Pamela. Pamela is not in love with Mr. Williams. She is somehow attracted by Mr. B. Mr. B understands that he will never win Pamela's love if he goes on acting like that. So he changes his attitude to her and becomes a better man. He finally falls really in love with Pamela, and they finally get married. So Pamela is rewarded for her virtue because she becomes a rich middle-class lady by marrying Mr. B. Henry Fielding, who wants to criticize Richardson's novel, and above all the characters we can find in Richardson's novel, that is Pamela and Mr. B, writes Shamela with the subtitle An Apology. He defines Pamela as a hypocrite. Actually, all Puritan moral is hypocrisy. And she mocks the idea that according to Protestant religion, every time one commits a crime, every time one makes a mistake, it is enough to regret about it, to feel sorry. That's more than enough. So in the name Shamela, we find this idea. Shamela is a girl who commits several mistakes, but she always feels sorry, and that's enough. So, to summarize everything, to sum all up, Henry Fielding is the father of the anti-heroic novel, because what he does is taking a main character and criticizing him or her. Samuel Richardson, on the other hand, is the father of the epistolary psychological novel. Epistolary because his novels are all written in the form of a collection of letters, and psychological because for the first time in the history of novel, we find the description of the analysis, the psychological analysis of the characters' feelings. Reading the letters, Pamela writes to her father, we feel what she feels. And the idea of realism is reinforced. For example, in a letter, Pamela says she's sorry because the letter she sends is torn by her tears. She's crying while she writes the letter. So probably her father will find it difficult to read the letter. So once again, the reader is convinced that the author, Richardson, really found these two collections of letters, Pamela's letters and her father's letters. And what we read is actually the truth. But what we didn't find in Daniel Defoe, there's a deep psychological analysis.